So we're here at the Bhagavad Academy in Sealy. I'm here with Vatsal Das Prabhu, who is the president of the Academy. My name is Kimberly, and we're going to do a short video for everyone. So Vatsal, can you start off by introducing yourself and saying a little bit about the place?
Hare Krishna, my name is Vatsal Das. I've been a practicing devotee for a little over 50 years. I joined Krishna Consciousness, or the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, in San Francisco in about 1972. After an extensive search for a place where I could serve God. After all these years of traveling around the world and trying to spread what I found 50 years ago in Krishna consciousness, I end up here in Sealy, Texas, at a 20-acre property that we have, we call the Bhagavad Academy. It's a spiritual retreat center that is open for anyone to come and get an experience of devotional service, or bhakti yoga, which is what we practice, bhakti yoga. Bhakti means devotion, and yoga means to link with God. So through this path of bhakti yoga, we feel that one can link with God. And that, in our understanding, is the purpose of this human form of life.
Okay, thank you. And do you mind to just say a couple things addressing the festival we had this weekend?
Oh yeah, just on May 11th, just a few days ago, we had a festival we called the Festival of Life. In that festival, we had exhibits come from a traveling party called the Festival of India out of North Carolina. They travel all over the country, and actually have been out of this country also, in Canada and in Puerto Rico and other places, bringing the exhibits and the stage and the sound system and all what really goes into making a complete festival. They were here in the park, Levine Family Park in downtown Sealy. And we chose that park because we want to just let the people, the local people from around this area, that we're here and we're offering our services. It was a very, what is that? Is that my phone?
No, sorry about that.
Well, that's your phone. And so we had, it was a nice day. Weather-wise, it wasn't too hot because it was overcast. At one point in the beginning, there was a little, like a momentary heavy rain, but that went away and didn't come back for the rest of the day. And I met several people that lived within a few blocks of that park that came to the festival to see what was going on, and they took some food, spiritual food that we offered for free, and some of them, we had some things that you could buy as well, and they seemed to enjoy themselves. And other people familiar with Krishna consciousness came from Houston or as far as Michigan. Even someone came from Michigan. So it was a very nice day. There was, although there wasn't a heck of a lot of people there, the atmosphere was very peaceful, just very, very nice. So,
yeah, it was a lot of fun. So we're doing this video in response to a video that was posted online by a local pastor, Roger Kraus. And I'm going to let Vatsal answer some of the points that were brought up in that video, just to clarify maybe any misconceptions or any ideas that viewers may be having. Do you have anything to add to the purpose of the video?
Yeah, it seems that Roger had, or Pastor Roger, had some things to say in regards to our philosophy and even our person on occasion that he said, which I wonder how he arrived at those conclusions, because I've never met him. I haven't met any others here where we live that have met him. And so I wonder how he arrived at his different conclusions. And his philosophical conclusions after citing passages from our scripture and from our founder Acharya, or our founder Acharya, had no scriptural reference as backup to his conclusions. So in my understanding and in our understanding, I mean, I'm personally not a scholar or anything like that. I really just work with my hands. But after being involved in Krishna consciousness and reading our voluminous literatures on the subject of Krishna consciousness, I have some understanding of these subject matters. And in general, I can give reference to a Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam or some scriptural reference that knows these, whatever ideas I present aren't my ideas or my interpretations. They come from a source greater than me.
Okay, very nice. In Roger's video, one of the main things that he was explaining was about the Maha Mantra, which is a mantra that we chant. So Roger gave a pretty detailed explanation of the Maha Mantra, and I'd like to ask Vatsal if he can elaborate on that explanation.
Well, mantra, first off, means, man means mind, and tra means to deliver. So a mantra is a transcendental sound vibration which is meant to deliver the mind. Now, someone might say, well, what does my mind need deliverance from? So we would say that our mind needs deliverance from the misunderstanding that we think we're this body, that I'm this man, that Kimberly's this woman, that Roger is a man, that this cow is a cow, the grass is grass, all these things of the material world, when actually all living entities are part and parcel of God. They're spirit. Because we are spirit. We're a soul. We're not this body. So a mantra is meant to clear the path for this understanding. Clear the path, clear the mind of all its misconceptions, thinking that we're this body. And the Hare Krishna mantra is the topmost mantra. We call it the Maha mantra. Maha means greatest. So it's the greatest mantra for that because it's composed of the most potent names for God. Krishna is a name for God, which describes him as the all-attractive person. Rama is a name for God that describes him as the reservoir of pleasure. And Hare is an address to the energy of God. So it says it in Scripture, Harir Nam, Aiva Kevalam Kalo Nasteva Gatir Anyata. That the holy name is the means for deliverance in this particular time and age that we find ourselves in. According to the Scripture, this age is called Kali Yuga. Kali means like iron. This is the iron age. Iron is a very tough substance. It's very hard. You hit yourself with it and it hurts. So in this age of, it also means quarrel. In this age of quarrel, we need something to transcend go beyond the material nature, and that is this Maha Mantra. So if we engage in singing or chanting, reciting this Maha Mantra, we can purify our mind so that we can understand who we are. And this is not a foreign concept. Every religion, bona fide religion at least, has this idea. Even the Psalms, according to my understanding, Psalm 110, I think it is, recommends that one should go out with cymbals and drums and glorify God together, like in a congregation. And we're going to get to that later. That's called kirtan. And so this mantra is a prayer that is requesting God to please engage us in your service. So that's the in a nutshell, I guess, what the Maha Mantra is.
I think that some of the viewers and Roger himself may be wondering or questioning why we're chanting Hare Krishna, and that maybe Krishna is some demigod or just Hindu god, and not the same God that the Christians view as God. So how can you clear up this idea?
Well, I don't know if I can clear it up,
Yeah.
but I can just say that we are worshiping God. And our understanding is that God is that person who no one is equal to or greater than. And there can only be one person that fits that description. So there is basically unlimited, not unlimited, but a great number of people in this world that have a different perspective and come from different angles of vision. So God can have many names, and he can have, and there can be many understandings of God depending on your level of awareness of God. There's a description in the scripture that's, or a story, that one man wanted to try to understand what a train looked like and what a train was. So his friend said, well, you go down to the train station and it'll come in, and then you'll see what a train is. So the man went down there, and he saw this light coming down. He saw the tracks, of course, and he saw this light coming down, and he just ran off and said to his friend, oh yeah, I saw it, it's a big light. And his friend said, no, that's just the beginning. There's more to it. Go down there and wait, and you'll see that there's more to the train. So he said, okay, and he went down, and finally the light comes down the tracks, and he waited this time. And he waited, and he saw, oh, now there's an engine and there's a bunch of cars. So he immediately ran off to his friend and said, yeah, now I saw the light, and I saw the engine, and I saw the cars. His friend said, no, there's still more to it. Go down and wait a little longer, and then when the train finally stops, maybe you can go into it and you can see. So his friend did, and the same thing happened. He saw the light, he saw the train come in, the train stopped, and he finally entered one of the cars, and he saw people in the cars. He saw a restaurant, he saw beds, he saw seats, he saw magazines, he saw all kinds of things. He saw in the engine there was an engineer, and there was a cockpit and dials and all kinds of instruments and so forth. So then he had the complete knowledge of the train now by then. But anyone who stops at any one point won't have complete knowledge of that. So.
And so we can understand God in the same way of
Yes.
understanding, the preliminary stage of God, like his energies, and then more about God and more about God until we understand God as the person who we call by name, right?
Yeah, that person who no one is equal to or greater than. We're never going to understand God in full because he's so transcendental. He's God. He can reveal himself to us. That's all. All we can do is offer ourselves to him. And then he can reveal himself to us. And he can reveal according to our surrender to him.
Nice. Okay, so we're not going to make this video too long. We only have 3 more points here that we really want to make, so hopefully you'll stay with us. But the next point is, in Roger's video, he had actually made some nice quotes from our founder, Acharya. At one point he says, Krishna consciousness is not an artificial imposition on the mind. So I think that's an interesting point that maybe you can explain.
Well, an artificial imposition on the mind would be something foreign that is placed into the mind, not something that is natural. But what Prabhupada meant when he said that, or our founder and Acharya, is that we are, by nature, servants of God. That is the inherent quality of the soul, to be a servant. And we even exhibit that through the medium of this body, because we're always doing some kind of service. If we're not serving our husband or wife or our children or our boss, or even we serve our house in a way, we serve our car in a way, because we have to get a job and we have to make money to do all these services. Or we get pets and we serve them. Or if nothing else, even the hermit with no friends, no wife, no children, no car, no house, he still has to serve his body. The body makes certain demands. It demands to eat, it demands to drink, it demands to sleep. And these are all forms of service. And so this is the inherent quality of the soul, to be a servant. And so we are all servants of God. And that is our basic understanding of who we are.
Okay, so the next...
And hold on a second, because I lost my train of thought a little bit on that, because the question had to do with the artificial imposition upon the mind. So, the inherent nature of the soul is to be a servant. And therefore, when we hear about being a servant of God, that's not something artificial, but it's something that can revive our original consciousness. If you go on in that quoting that Prabhupada says that this is our original consciousness, is God consciousness. So therefore, all of this information about what is God consciousness is not artificial. It's not like when you go to school and you don't know what 2 + 2 is and 3 × 3 and all of these things. That you have to learn those things. You have to program yourself with those things. But with God consciousness, that's not the process. The process is you hear about it so that you can purify your heart, so that these things can be revived and reawakened within you. That's the process of Bhakti Yoga, or Krishna consciousness.
So the next point is on a subject that can be talked about for a very long time, but there was one point about reincarnation where Roger made the statement that if you believe in reincarnation, it takes out any need for there to be a creator. So we just want to talk about that statement there.
Well, I don't know how he came upon that conclusion, because he couldn't have ever talked to a devotee of Krishna and come to that conclusion, because we certainly are creationists. We believe that God created everything, and he created us. But in a sense, we create our situation by our activities and our inherent nature to enjoy, which becomes we choose to enjoy separately from God at one point. And so therefore God makes an arrangement, because he has, like any loving father, he tends to fulfill all our desires. So when we desire to be separate from God, then he says, okay, then you can be in this material world and you can act like you're separate from me. Of course, we can never be separate from God. So reincarnation simply means that reincarnate. Carnate means flesh, re means to get new. So reincarnation is just a scientific fact of life, because just like all of you who are listening to this are mature enough to have a body that can listen to this kind of philosophy. But at one time you had a body that was only this big, a baby's body. And then you had an older body, 5-year-old, 7-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old. And one day, if you're only 30 now, you'll have a 60 or 70-year-old body. And so at the time of death, then the soul, which is eternal, has to go on to a new body. And that body depends on our activities in this life. Just like when you go to college, you study certain things because you have an idea what you want to do later on in life, and you're preparing for that. So this life, we say, is like like going to school for the next life. So we as devotees are trying to prepare ourselves for our spiritual life with God, and therefore we try to perform spiritually oriented activities directed at the satisfaction of God, so that instead of reincarnating in this material world, in what we call samsara, or the endless cycle of repeated birth and death in the material world, we want to go to the spiritual world and be with God. And so that's basically reincarnation. I would like to hear some kind of scriptural backup as to his understanding of reincarnation, and saying that means that there's no God, there's no creator. We 100% believe in God the creator.
And the last point we have is just a small understanding on what is kirtan. Roger brought up a lot of points about music and its effect on us and our consciousness. And so when we're performing the type of music called kirtan, which involves chanting the Maha Mantra, what kind of effect that has?
Well, my personal experience is it has a great effect, a wonderful effect, a very soothing and pleasing effect especially to the soul, because these are chanting or kirtan means to glorify and commune with the divine or with God through telling stories about God, through songs, or even philosophical songs about the philosophy of God or the pastimes of God. And even just chanting Hare Krishna is the names of God. So that's another way to glorify God. And so that kirtan, being the transcendental sound that it is, has the ability to take us to that platform of transcendental consciousness. As I believe that Jesus said, wherever 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there I will be. So devotees performing kirtan are gathering together in the name of God with a prayer to God, a constant prayer of, please God, engage me in your service. Please let me enter into your presence. Please be with us. even in this material world. And it's in all cultures. Music is in every culture. And music certainly has an effect on us, even material, mundane music. That's why they have different names for it. They have blues music, they have rock and roll, they have classical music. And all of these names connote a different type of effect that it will have on us. They even have done studies, so many studies on this. And classical music, they let pregnant ladies listen to classical music, and they say that the pregnancy and the birth and everything goes smoother, and the child comes out, maybe even a little smarter. And rock and roll music, you see even old people that may not like rock and roll music, when they see it, maybe they'll tap their little toe, or they move in a certain way because that music is having an effect on them. And that's how blues music got its name, because people came from a depressed area of this, because it originated in this country, and especially the Mississippi Delta blues and the black community. They started this music because they were depressed, they were downtrodden, and then they started this kind of music came out of that sentiment, therefore they called it blues. So yes, even mundane sound vibration, actually we understand that everything is made out of sound vibration. Even what appears to be solid is vibrating. It's just vibrating so slow we can't appreciate it with our mundane senses. When we want to build something in this material world, it all starts with sound vibration. We let somebody know, I want a house this big, I want this room here, it's all a description, and then somebody puts pencil to paper, and then eventually somebody buys materials and somebody comes in and builds it. So it's all began with sound vibration. So we do put a lot of stock in sound vibration, and especially kirtan, because it's such a wonderful way to get together and leave our false ego or our false sense of identity behind, thinking that, oh, I am this white guy, or I'm this black person, or I'm this man, this woman, I'm English, or I'm American, or I'm a Hindu, or I'm a Jew, or I'm a Catholic. All of these designations disappear when we get together to glorify God.
Wonderful. Yeah. So I think that hit as many of the points as we wanted to for this video. You want to invite people to?
Yeah. Thank you very much. And we are an open book here, and we have an open house every third Sunday of the month at 1 o'clock, and people are invited to come and question us and talk to us and do kirtan with us, and take some spiritual food with us. We're known all over the world as very good cooks, and we do pretty well here at that as well. And we look forward to having many festivals in the future, and hope to see you then. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.